But yeah, as far as Jimmy Garoppolo, another quarterback you brought up, there is a lot of talks. I know we did the video like who's QB1 next year, but what's his market? Say he does just walk. He doesn't play anymore this year. What could he go out there and get? Like what team is looking at him?
Oh, oh. So it's going to be the Patriots lineage. So it's going to be the Texans if they don't actually draft a quarterback. It's going to be actually the Patriots is one that is getting a lot of steam. But I could even see him going to the Jets. I could see him going to, let's see, where else? Do you think what other Jimmy Garoppolo spots would there be? I would. Who doesn't
Carolina.
Do you think the Seahawks go also take a run? Maybe they're like, hey, we look at what we did with Geno. Jimmy is a little bit better than Geno, and we're gonna have to pay him probably less than we pay Geno. Let's go ahead and just do that.
I think to me the team well, I always said like maybe the Texans because I think D'Amico Ryans would take over that job and do well there.
Yeah.
And for him to just take Jimmy with him and like really establish the culture, kind of like I know Jared Goff isn't like a Dan Campbell guy, but like to have a quarterback there who you're just like, okay, you're the guy, just be the leader for a few years and establish like your culture.
Yeah.
I could totally see that with Jimmy and D'Amico pairing up. Another destination that I think if they have the money, they would probably pay him the most because to them they're like, this gets us back on track. The Saints, like they are desperate. For some reason they just like they want Andy Dalton to be the guy so bad.
It's
To where
not
they
gonna
don't want to roll
work.
they don't want to roll Jameis out there anymore. And I know he's looked not great, but I would have liked to be like, oh, maybe we see what Jameis has in more game film, and we know the team's not that good this year, but we could build around him, maybe. Or even if they said, fuck it, let's just roll Taysom Hill out there, and like he's athletic, he makes plays every time. I have him in fantasy, so every time he throws the ball, he's hitting bomb touchdowns. Like he's throwing the ball downfield like ridiculously, and then they're like, all right, go kick rocks,
Back,
hit the bench, kid.
go ahead and hit that tight end spot, buddy.
Which is like, dude, Andy Dalton isn't making these plays. Like, why not just leave Taysom out there for a whole game and see what happens?
Yeah.
But I don't know that. I think they can justify to themselves like Jimmy's a real starter. All we need is a quarterback. Blah blah blah. Dennis Allen, we're stuck with him. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Also the Colts. Colts could come back and double up on it. Like they hit dud after dud. Like,
Who's gonna be the bad quarterback for the Colts next year?
It could be Jimmy, bro. But this is a team that fully believes we're a quarterback away from, this greatness again. The Fighting Jeff Saturdays, like they're gonna roll out Nick Foles this upcoming week. It's things are getting desperate in Indy, but I could see that happening. But the only reason I wanted to bring up this subject is because the Patriots is just so fascinating. We know that Bill Belichick had such an obsession with Jimmy Garoppolo. He really thought that he was going to be the next man up, the successor to Tom Brady. And it really did hurt him to have to trade Jimmy Garoppolo away, so much so that he had to trade him to a spot where he knew he was going to be the starter and he was going to actually do well. So knowing all that and knowing this season, Mac Jones hasn't looked good. He's been at odds with not only the Patriot coaching staff, but almost like the Patriot organization as a whole. When he got injured and he didn't want to come back on their timeline because he wanted second opinions. I think all this is we know Bill doesn't really give a shit about draft status. So I would be like, oh, if Mac Jones was just straight up balling out, but he's not. And I think Bill would do Jimmy Garoppolo again. Someone had actually put it out on Instagram, and Trent Brown, former 49ers lineman and now current Patriot, actually liked that post about Jimmy coming back to New England. So I think that's the reality that we're going to be living in moving forward. Is I think that they're going to be the number one spot and they're going to be the number one suitor for Jimmy Garoppolo.
But here's my thing though. I have seen a little bit of rumblings that there's a slight possibility, not saying it's gonna happen, but there's a slight that they're kind of done on Belichick after this year. Like, look at what he's done. He can't build an offense anymore. Like, when's the last time he built an offense? He hates weapons. The defense, which is his key thing, is like not as good. He has Matt Patricia back there calling plays. None of his coaching staff are like elite talent.
Yeah,
And he's just gonna bring in Jimmy to fix it all. Like, I don't know. He's getting up there in age.
he is getting up there in age, but I don't think like Kraft can Belichick. Belichick would have to want to retire. And I don't know if Belichick's at that point. If he has Jimmy Garoppolo come back, it's almost like all right, boys, let's ride one last time. Like, let's go.
It's it's an offense where you're like, man, we really can't do anything on offense. You know what we should get? A quarterback that can't do anything on offense.
But this is
That's a
his
perfect
guy.
pairing.
This is a perfect Belichick guy. We know this shot like checks off all the boxes. If he gets like 1 or 2 seasons with Garoppolo, I think that's enough to like keep him in line. The one thing that he is going to have is he's going to need to get a real offensive coordinator. He can't have Patricia run it back. Like, this is getting borderline ridiculous where Mac Jones is hating on the coaching staff because of it. So he's going to have to get an OC. I don't know how or who is going to want to coach under Belichick at this point. It's going to be interesting to see like how that all shapes out. He couldn't even get one last year.
What about potentially Derek Carr getting traded somewhere and Jimmy to the Raiders?
I mean,
That's
it
something I'd
doesn't.
like to see.
I would, but where would Derek go? You know what I mean? I think
Mm.
his stock has really dropped this season as they just haven't looked good. They've got like they went out and got him Devontae Adams. They already had Darren Waller. They had Hunter Renfro. Like they had pieces. Josh Jacobs. They even cut
Like,
that
this
one.
wasn't a rebuild.
Yeah, no, this was a team that was supposed to be like plug and play, like ready to go. Like now we actually got a really dynamic play caller in Josh McDaniels. It just hasn't worked out. I think that it really did drop Derek's stock. It does help that Garoppolo is super comfortable with McDaniels. I think that's the way Josh would want to go with Jimmy because, hey, he already knows the system. He knows what I want. Like, let's do it. I think that fits the marriage between McDaniels and Garoppolo. Where I don't see it is where the fuck do you send Derek and do you get enough value back for him?
All right, hear me out. We just trade Jimmy G straight up for Russell Wilson, and we get Mr. Unlimited out here in the Bay.
Dude,
How many bathrooms could he get in the house out here?
he'd get 1 bedroom, 7 baths.
No. That was a joke. Please, no. Never give us Russell Wilson.
No,
But he makes for great content.
he does.
Is that all we got for today?
I believe so.
All right, you guys, thanks for listening. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and hit us up on Twitter at the Deep Dig Pod.
Yep. If you're at the game on Saturday, go ahead and hit us up again. Other than that, if you're here, thank you. We appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that like button. All
Bucking.
right, later.